Have you ever heard a song and it just like stops you in your tracks? Like it's just so fresh, so groundbreaking that you're like, wait a minute, how have I never heard this before?
Yeah, totally.
We're going to go deep into the world of someone like that
Wow.
today. Someone who was a pioneer who helped shape the sound of hip hop,
Oh, wow.
but whose story doesn't always get told.
Huh. I'm intrigued.
So we're diving into the world of MC Shaw Rock,
MC Shaw Rock.
hip hop's first female MC.
Okay.
We're talking someone who's out there spitting rhymes, rocking stages, influencing icons like DMC
Wow.
before most of the world even knew what a rap battle was.
That's incredible. I mean, to be doing that so early on in the
Like
game,
hell, right?
you have to have so much passion and vision.
Totally. And we're really lucky because we have some amazing sources to kind of guide us along on this journey.
Okay, cool. What are we looking at?
A really cool episode of NPR's Louder Than a Riot podcast.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
They actually sat down with Shaw Rock herself
Oh, wow.
and got her firsthand account of what it was like to be a woman in that world.
Yeah, because I bet it wasn't easy.
Oh, no, not at all,
Yeah.
especially back then.
Right. Breaking into a scene like that had to take a lot of guts.
Absolutely. Plus, we'll also hear from other hip-hop legends
Okay.
like DMC
Oh, wow.
and Raheem,
Okay,
one of the
yeah.
original members of Shaw Rock's group, the Funky Four.
Wow. So we're getting the inside scoop straight from the source.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
going to be super fascinating.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Uh,
So let's rewind way back
okay.
to the Bronx in the late 70s.
Right.
Imagine like all the energy and creativity
Oh, yeah.
just bubbling over in the streets.
Yeah.
You've got a young Shaw Rock. She's getting swept up in this breakdancing scene, soaking up the sounds of these early hip-hop jams,
I can almost hear it now.
and something clicks.
Huh.
She's drawn to the mic,
Yeah.
and by 1978, she joins this crew called the Funky Four, ready to make her mark on the world.
Wow, 1978. That's before hip hop really hit the mainstream, right?
Yeah, it was still very much an underground movement at that point.
So she was truly a pioneer.
Exactly. And she wasn't just another voice in the crowd.
Yep.
She had this really unique rapping style.
Hmm.
She used this echo chamber effect.
Oh, interesting. Like a reverb kind of thing.
Yeah, it added this whole other dimension to her rhymes.
Yeah, I bet that really made her stand out.
Oh, for sure. And it wasn't just a gimmick.
Yeah.
It was innovative. It was captivating.
And did it catch on? Did other artists start using it too?
Oh, absolutely. Artists like DMC have even said that she was a direct influence on their style.
Wow. So she really did have a lasting impact on the sound of hip hop.
Think about the way DMC's voice reverberates in your head.
Uh-huh.
That sense of power, that echo that makes you lean in and listen closer.
Yeah, I get you.
That's part of Shaw Rock's legacy.
Hmm.
And it wasn't just about her lyrical skills.
Right.
She had this stage presence
Okay.
that just commanded your attention.
I can only imagine.
There's a reason that the Funky Four became one of the first hip-hop groups to sign a record deal, to hit the Billboard charts, to go on a massive tour.
Yeah. That's huge. They were really breaking new ground.
Imagine being part of that. Being a pioneer in a genre that's about to take over the world.
I mean, talk about being at the right place at the right
Yeah.
time.
And riding that wave of excitement, knowing you're part of something truly special.
It must have been exhilarating.
But as with any story of success,
Uh-huh.
especially in the music industry,
Yeah.
there are always shadows lurking behind the scenes.
What do you mean? What kind of shadows?
Well, the realities of the business.
Oh, yeah.
The exploitation that a lot of artists, especially black artists, faced at the hands of record labels.
Oh, man, that's the dark side of the industry.
And the Funky Four, despite their popularity,
Yeah.
they were no exception.
That's heartbreaking to hear. I mean, they were so talented and so influential.
I know, and it's even more complicated than just some faceless corporation taking advantage of them.
How so?
Well, the head of Sugar Hill Records, the label that signed the Funky Four was Sylvia Robinson, and she was deeply involved in Shaw Rock's life. She even became the godmother to Shaw Rock's daughter.
Wait, so the woman who was essentially taking advantage of them was also a close personal connection.
Exactly.
Wow, that adds a whole other layer to the story.
It highlights the tangled web of relationships, the power dynamics,
The blurred lines between mentorship and exploitation.
Yeah, and it makes you think about all the stories that we don't hear, all the talent that gets overshadowed.
Right, because the music industry is not always a fairy tale.
No, it's not. But even with those challenges,
Yeah.
the Funky Four, they kept breaking down barriers.
How so? What else did they accomplish?
Well, in 1981, they did something monumental.
Okay.
They became the first hip-hop group to perform on Saturday Night Live.
Whoa. That's iconic.
Can you imagine the pressure?
I bet. And the thrill.
The sheer audacity of bringing this raw, rebellious sound to a mainstream audience.
It must have felt like they were changing the world.
Oh, absolutely. It signaled the beginning of this whole journey for hip hop, from the streets to the global stage.
That's amazing. And there's no way they could have known how big hip hop would become.
I know, right? There's this detail that adds another layer to this story.
Okay.
Shay-Rock was actually pregnant during that performance.
Whoa! Seriously? She was performing on SNL while pregnant.
Yeah, and she kept it a secret.
Why? I mean, that's incredible.
Because she was afraid that it would jeopardize the group's success.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pressure to be under.
It really is. It's a testament to her dedication.
Absolutely. But also kind of sad that she felt like she had to hide that part of herself.
Yeah, and it gets worse because when she did finally reveal her pregnancy, she faced backlash from her own group members.
Seriously, her own group.
They saw her as a liability instead of celebrating the fact that she was bringing a new life into the world while simultaneously rocking the stage.
Oh man, that's messed up.
It speaks volumes about the double standards. Even in a genre that was supposed to be about breaking down barriers and challenging norms.
Right. It's like they were saying it's okay for us to be rebels, but not for you.
And it makes you wonder how different things might have been if she had received the support that she deserved.
Yeah, it's a shame that her talent and her contribution weren't fully appreciated at the time.
Well, that's just one chapter in her story.
Mm.
And as we'll see, Shay-Rock is a woman who refuses to be silenced.
I like her already.
She's a woman who fights for her rightful place in history. So what happened next? How did Shay-Rock navigate the aftermath of that SNL performance?
Yeah, and what about those challenges that she faced? I'm ready to hear more.
Well, let's delve into that in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. You know what's really interesting as we go deeper into this, the contrast between how huge the Funky Four were
Yeah.
and the kind of behind the scenes stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about like the whole music industry, right? Even when it's like rebellious and you're breaking new ground,
Yeah.
it can still be brutal.
Yeah, and especially, I think, for women, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
trying to navigate that whole world.
Absolutely.
And especially when you have like a label
Right.
that's more interested in profit than actually like
Yeah.
helping you in your music.
That's a shame.
So what happened after that SNL performance?
Yeah.
That things kind of fall apart for them.
Well, so the group disbanded in 1983.
Okay.
And despite promises from Sylvia Robinson herself,
Oh, wow.
Shay-Rock really struggled to get the money that she was owed.
That's like a classic story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you put your heart and soul into your music
Mm-hmm.
and then you get screwed over.
Yeah, and in this case, it's like even more
Yeah.
like just upsetting
Right.
because she had this personal connection with Sylvia.
Totally.
So it's like an extra level of betrayal.
So how did she respond to that? Like, did she just kind of let it go?
Oh, no. This is MC Shay-Rock we're talking about.
Right.
She's a woman who like defied expectations.
No.
She's broken barriers. She was not going to let the system just like walk all over her.
So she took them to court.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a total David and Goliath situation.
I bet.
In 1997, she and some other artists who had been exploited by Sugar Hill,
Okay.
they filed a lawsuit to try to get back what they were owed.
Wow.
And it was a really long battle.
Yeah, I bet.
It went on for over 20 years.
Wow.
And it actually like outlived Sylvia and her husband Joe.
Really?
Yeah, they both died while the suit was still going on.
Wow. So talk about perseverance.
Absolutely. I mean, it would have been so easy to just give up.
Yeah.
Especially with like how powerful the people she was going up against were.
Totally.
But she was determined.
Yeah.
She wanted to fight not only for herself, but for other artists too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, her lawsuit like became this symbol for resisting this like broken system.
So what happened? Did she win?
She did.
Wow.
Her and the other artists, they won their case.
That's awesome.
It was a huge victory, not just for them, but for all these artists that had been taken advantage of by the industry.
I can imagine it must have felt so good.
Oh, yeah. Like finally getting justice
Totally.
after all those years of fighting.
But it wasn't just about the money, was it?
No, you're right.
It was about something bigger.
Yeah, for Shay-Rock, it was about reclaiming her story.
Yeah.
Like making sure people knew her place in hip-hop history,
Yeah.
making sure that her contributions and the contributions of other women
Right.
didn't just get erased.
It's so important
Yeah,
because, like history is written by the victors, right?
exactly.
And so we really have to challenge that
Mm-hmm.
and really uncover the untold stories.
Yeah, and Shah Ruk's story is like the perfect example
Totally.
of how one person can really make a difference.
So what did she do after that? Like, did she stay involved in hip-hop?
Totally.
Yeah.
Shah Rukh didn't just disappear after winning the lawsuit.
No.
She became a voice for artists' rights
That's great.
and like really made sure to teach people about the real history of hip hop, a history that includes women like her.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like she took that victory
Uh-huh.
and used it to lift up other voices that had been kind of pushed to the side.
It's really inspiring, actually.
She actually wrote a book about her whole experience.
Oh, cool.
It's called Luminary Icon.
Okay.
And she started giving talks and stuff,
Wow.
really advocating for change in the music industry.
That's great.
Yeah, she's a real role model
Yeah.
for women everywhere, like a symbol of resilience.
Totally.
And just the power of using your voice to fight for what's right.
It makes you think about, like, what can we do?
Right.
Like, to kind of challenge the status quo
Yeah.
and, like, stand up for others.
Mm-hmm.
So as we head into the last part of our deep dive into MC Sharrock,
Yeah.
like, what does her story really mean to us today?
Yeah, what can we learn from her and actually use in our own lives?
As we're kind of wrapping up this deep dive into MC Sharrock's life,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about legacy.
Yeah.
What does it really mean to make a mark on the world?
It's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you think about someone like Shah Rukh, who not only like created a genre, but also fought so hard to be recognized for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about like being famous or getting awards.
Right.
It's about the way you impact other people, like how you inspire them
Yeah.
to think differently, to push boundaries, to fight for what they believe in.
And with Shah Rukh, I mean, her impact is huge.
Yeah.
Like, think about all the female MCs that came after her that were inspired by her story,
Totally.
that were like, you know what, I can do this too.
It's amazing.
And they did.
Yeah.
It's like she planted a seed
Yeah.
and this whole forest grew up around it.
I love that.
Yeah.
But her legacy is also about more than just like paving the way for women.
Right.
She was so committed to fighting for what's right,
Mm-hmm.
to making the music industry fairer,
Totally.
to making sure everyone is valued.
Exactly.
Like that lawsuit against Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
That wasn't just about her money.
Right.
It was about calling out those bad practices
Mm-hmm.
and setting an example for other artists.
To stand up for themselves.
Yeah, and she didn't stop there.
No, she kept using her voice
Right.
to teach, to inspire, to challenge the way things are.
It's like she was showing everyone what's possible
Yeah.
if you're brave enough to speak up.
Exactly. And that's a message that goes way beyond just music.
Oh, yeah.
It's about having the courage to fight for what you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what.
So what can we all take away from MC Shamrock's story?
I think one of the big things is resilience.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she faced so many obstacles in the music industry,
It's tough.
but she never gave up.
She kept going.
She kept pushing forward,
Yeah,
and she used those challenges to become an even stronger advocate,
totally.
an even louder voice for change.
And she didn't do it alone either, right?
Right. She had support from other artists
Yeah.
who had been through similar stuff.
It's like that saying, right?
Yeah.
Like we're stronger together.
Exactly. When we come together
Yeah.
and support each other
Mm-hmm.
and share our stories, we can make amazing things happen.
So as we kind of finish up our deep dive here,
Yeah.
I want you to think about those pioneers in your own life.
Okay.
The people who have inspired you to break the mold,
Yeah.
to challenge what's expected of you,
Right.
to create something new.
Those are the people we need to celebrate.
Right. And learn from.
Absolutely.
Whose footsteps are you following
Yeah.
to make the world a better place? MC Sharrock's story
Mm-hmm.
shows us that anything is possible
Yeah.
when we're brave enough to defy expectations,
Mm-hmm.
fight for what we believe in,
Yeah.
and never stop using our voices for good.
Couldn't have said it better myself.